Is the rare INFJ personality truly born into the world or carefully shaped by it? Less than 2% of people identify as INFJs, making their combination of empathy, intuition, and independence feel almost mythical. But is it destiny or the consequence of silent battles fought in childhood? Imagine if the struggles you face didn't just leave scars, but rewired your mind, trauma, or were coded in your DNA. Could your independence, empathy, and intuition be survival tools developed by necessity, not gifts of fate? Some say it's a superpower, but what if, for some INFJs, it's simply the mind's way of keeping you safe when the world turns unpredictable? Before we start, please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe so you won't miss any of our weekly deep dives into the world of personality types. And if you are looking to gain a deeper understanding of yourself and your personality type, click the link in the comments to take our favorite free personality test. Theory number 1, intuition as a childhood survival mechanism. Picture this. As a child, you walk into a room and the air feels heavy. You don't just notice it, you scan it, searching for the most minor shifts in expression or tone. For some INFJs, intuition is not a mystical gift, but a skill forged out of necessity. Sharpened in homes where moods could change in an instant, and survival meant reading the room before anyone else. Every glance, every sigh, every pause becomes a signal you learn to decode, because missing one could mean stepping onto an emotional landmine. In these unpredictable environments, your intuition becomes like a muscle, one that gets stronger each time you're forced to anticipate what comes next. You learn to sense tension before voices rise, to spot disappointment before it's spoken, to recognize joy even when it hides behind tired eyes. This constant practice doesn't just keep you safe as a child, it follows you, shaping how you connect, protect, and interpret the world as an adult. But when survival instincts become automatic, can you ever switch them off? We'll uncover the neuroscience next. Theory number 2, how unstable environments strengthen intuitive abilities. When childhood feels like walking a fault line, your brain adapts. For INFJs, intuition often starts here, not as a gift, but as a defense. Science shows that growing up in chaos or neglect doesn't just shape your personality, it rewires your brain. Studies show chronic unpredictability rewires the amygdala to stay on high alert, honing your radar for subtle shifts in others. You scan every room for patterns, always bracing for what might come next, because your safety depends on it. This neural vigilance sharpens your ability to anticipate moods and outcomes, turning you into someone who just knows what's about to happen. But there's a cost. The same pathways that keep you alert can leave you emotionally drained, a signature challenge for INFJs. You become a master at reading the atmosphere, but that constant tension never fully lets go. And when your mind is constantly scanning for danger, what happens to your heart? Next, we'll see how this heightened sensitivity can open the door to hyperempathy. Theory number 3, trauma creating hyperempathy and emotional awareness. You might have felt it, the ache in your chest when someone else is hurting, the urge to shoulder their sorrow as if it were your own. For INFJs, this isn't learned, it's instinct. But the roots of this hyperempathy run deeper than kindness. Early exposure to rejection, neglect, or loss can sharpen emotional awareness into a survival tool. When chaos or heartbreak marks your childhood, your senses adapt, scanning for the slightest flicker of emotion to avoid pain or keep the peace. Scientists point to mirror neurons, cells in your brain that fire when you see another's pain. For some, these neurons become hyperactive, making it almost impossible not to feel what others feel. Over time, decoding emotions becomes automatic, a reflex that shapes your every interaction. You read between the lines, catch the sadness behind a smile, and offer the benefit of the doubt before anyone asks. But when feeling another's pain becomes automatic, where do your own emotions end and theirs begin? Find out how early loss plays into this next. Theory number 4. The connection between early loss and deep caring. What sets INFJs apart isn't just their ability to feel, it's the depth of their caring, often shaped by what they lost early on. Even a single early loss, a grandparent, a parent, or simply the sense of belonging, can code your brain to seek and soothe others' suffering. You might have watched a loved one's heartbreak or witnessed bullying from the sidelines, and that experience etched itself into your memory. A child who loses a caregiver may grow up scanning rooms for unseen sorrow, always attuned to pain that hides beneath the surface. These early encounters with grief or exclusion don't just leave you cautious, they plant a seed of protectiveness. You learn to spot the silent battles others fight, and you can't help but want to ease that burden. This urge to help isn't shallow or fleeting. It's rooted in something painfully familiar, a kind of empathy that feels both genuine and overwhelming. Is this drive to heal others born from love, or born from the void you once felt? Next, we examine how that void fosters fierce independence. Theory number 5. Forced independence versus natural self-reliance. Some people grow up surrounded by support, but for many INFJs, self-reliance isn't a choice, it's survival. When parents are absent, whether physically or emotionally, you don't just adapt, you become the one who solves everything yourself. Children forced to manage alone learn early. Asking for help isn't an option. You carry responsibilities meant for adults, navigating a world that rarely feels safe or predictable. This kind of independence doesn't fade with age. It hardens into a trait others admire, a quiet strength, a reputation for handling anything life throws your way. On the outside, you seem unbreakable, the one who never needs rescuing. But inside, the story is different. Relying solely on yourself can make vulnerability feel like a risk you can't afford. Accepting help, or even admitting you need it, starts to look like weakness, not relief. You build walls, not out of pride, but protection. And over time, the freedom of self-sufficiency can feel like isolation. But what happens when a child feels like they're raising themselves? Theory number 6. How parental absence shapes INFJ independence. For many INFJs, the absence of parental guidance, whether emotional or physical, becomes a quiet force that shapes everything. You grow up learning that support isn't coming, so you take on the role of caretaker before you're ready. Independence grows out of necessity, not choice. You learn to think ahead, to answer your questions, to rely on yourself, because experience has taught you that no one else will. It's a form of survival that pushes you to become self-sufficient long before your peers. This kind of loneliness doesn't just fade away. There's a sense of being out of step, a constant feeling that you're the black sheep in your own family, misunderstood, isolated, and always just a little apart. Your silent vow to self-sufficiency often follows you into adult life, building walls instead of bridges. It's a strength, but it comes at a cost. Vulnerability feels dangerous, and letting anyone in seems almost impossible. But the world outside the family brings new wounds, ones that cut even deeper. Next, discover how the scars of schoolyard rejection sharpen your empathy in ways most people never see. Theory number 7. The role of bullying and insecurity in INFJ development. For many INFJs, childhood isn't just marked by awkward moments or feeling left out. The sting of bullying and exclusion shapes it. These wounds do more than hurt. They solidify that haunting sense of difference, making you question if you'll ever truly belong. You're labeled too sensitive, too quiet, or simply strange. But beneath the surface, these social blows train you to read unspoken cues, scanning every interaction for hidden motives or subtle shifts in mood. This vigilance isn't just a habit. It becomes a way of surviving in a world that rarely feels safe. The pain of rejection carves out a space inside you, a space that fills with empathy. You know what it's like to be misunderstood, so you reach for the pain in others, hoping to ease what you once endured. This capacity for deep connection is both your armor and your legacy. But the scars linger. Perfectionism and self-doubt creep in, pushing you to overanalyze every relationship, always searching for signs of judgment. Could this blend of rejection and sensitivity be more than an experience? Could it be a genetic blueprint we'll explore next? Theory number 8, nature versus nurture in personality type formation. The question isn't just whether your struggles shaped you, but how much of who you are was already written before you faced them. This is the heart of the nature versus nurture debate, a question that matters even more for a personality as rare and complex as the INFJ. Remember, MBTI offers a lens, not a laboratory diagnosis. It's a way to explore patterns in how we think, feel, and connect, not a hardwired map of our DNA. Genes may code for emotional responsiveness, mirror neurons again, but life's crucible can crank that dial to 11. A child might be born with a tendency toward empathy or intuition, yet it's the storms of childhood, unstable love, poverty, exclusion, that refine those traits into something unmistakable. Imagination, too, can be both a natural gift and a coping tool, a place to retreat when reality threatens to overwhelm. Even the INFJ's hunger for deep connection may begin as a quiet instinct, only to be amplified by years of searching for belonging. So, which holds more sway, your DNA or your dramas? When you trace the INFJ's path, you find no simple answer, only a mosaic of intuition, as survival, empathy from trauma, and independence from abandonment. Genetics may set the stage, but childhood experiences sculpt the details, sharpening each trait in response to the world's demands. The INFJ emerges not from a single cause, but from the collision of nature and nurture, each struggle and triumph carving out a mind that feels, senses, and cares more deeply than most. Which of these journeys feels most like your own? If this exploration resonated with you, hit like, subscribe, and share your story below. If you want to continue the journey to understanding yourself or an INFJ in your life, click either of the following videos, where we continue to unlock the secrets of the INFJ personality type.